a place where women can marry multiple husbands and planes avoid like a disaster zone. Would you believe this exists on Earth? Welcome to Tibet, the mystical land on the roof of the world, where unusual customs like polyandry continue to amaze the world. But that is not all. This region also holds perilous mountains so treacherous that even modern planes avoid flying over them. Let's uncover the fascinating story of traditions, mysteries, and realities that you never thought could exist in the real world. Located on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, the Tibet Autonomous Region in southwestern China is one of the highest places on Earth, with an average elevation of about 16,000 feet or 4,900 meters above sea level. Although it spans an area of approximately 463,000 square miles, or 1.2 million square kilometers, it has a population of only 3 million people, a density so low that it is considered one of the least populated areas in China. This land is blessed with awe-inspiring natural beauty, featuring the renowned Himalayan mountain range and vast valleys. However, it is also one of the most extreme and inhospitable places on the planet. Tibet's terrain is known for its astonishing diversity. This region not only has towering snow-covered mountains that remain white throughout the year, but also deep valleys, desolate deserts, and lush green plateaus that come to life in the summer. Tibet is often called the third pole of the Earth because of its massive reserves of ice and freshwater, second only to the Arctic and Antarctic. It is the source of major rivers such as the Yellow River, the Indus, the Mekong, and the Ganges, waterways that have nourished great civilizations for thousands of years. Despite its stunning landscapes, Tibet's climate is harsh and unforgiving. Its high altitude makes the air extremely dry and cold. The average annual temperature ranges from 26 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 3 to 4 degrees Celsius, and during winter, it can plummet to below 22 degrees Fahrenheit, or 30 degrees Celsius. Rainfall is scarce throughout the year, with as little as 4 to 12 inches, or 100 to 300 millimeters, making Tibet one of the driest regions in China. Strong winds frequently sweep across the Himalayas, causing blizzards and disturbances in the upper atmosphere, a constant nightmare for aircraft passing through this region. So why do planes avoid flying over Tibet and the Himalayas, even though it seems theoretically possible? One of the main reasons is Tibet's terrain. The Himalayan mountain range, with Mount Everest, which stands at 29,029 feet, or 8,848 meters, poses a significant challenge for commercial flights. Although modern aircraft can reach cruising altitudes of 33,000 to 42,000 feet, or about 10,000 to 12,800 meters, in the event of an emergency, planes often need to descend rapidly to 10,000 feet, or 3,000 meters, to stabilize cabin pressure and ensure passenger safety. In Tibet, however, there is almost no suitable lower altitude for this maneuver due to the jagged mountain peaks below. A slight miscalculation could lead to catastrophic accidents. Additionally, Tibet's frigid temperatures pose a major threat to aviation. At stratospheric altitudes, temperatures can drop to 52 degrees Fahrenheit or 47 degrees Celsius, cold enough to freeze an aircraft's fuel systems. Engines are not designed to operate continuously in such extreme temperatures. Moreover, this region frequently experiences severe turbulence due to the significant temperature and pressure differences between atmospheric layers, creating powerful wind vortices. These are among the leading causes of aviation disasters in the history of commercial air travel. Legal factors also contribute to airlines avoiding flights over this region. Tibet is part of China, a country with strict airspace regulations, particularly near sensitive border areas. The regions near the Himalayas are sometimes used for military exercises or are closely monitored for national security purposes. Allowing commercial flights over this area could pose not only aviation safety risks, but also political dangers. Another reason is the scarcity of emergency landing options. Tibet has very few airports, and the existing ones are difficult to access due to short runways and high-altitude locations. For example, Lhasa Ganggar Airport, located in Tibet's capital Lhasa, has a runway 13,000 feet long, or 4,000 meters. An impressive length, but still insufficient for safe emergency landings that require even longer runways in lowland areas. This makes any mid-air emergency over Tibet far more dangerous than in other regions. All these factors make Tibet a no-fly zone for most airlines. While it is technically possible for planes to fly over the region, the risks far outweigh the potential benefits. As a result, flights usually take longer routes around this area to ensure the utmost safety for passengers and crew. Tibet is not only famous for its breathtaking natural landscapes, but also for its ancient culture, deeply rooted in spirituality and a profound philosophy of life. Tibetan Buddhism, also known as Vajrayana Buddhism, plays a central role in the lives of the Tibetan people. For them, Buddhism is not merely a religion, but a guiding principle for life, influencing everything from daily routines to customs, festivals, and sacred rituals. The ancient monasteries are not only places of worship, but also centers of education, culture, and guardians of traditional values passed down for generations. Traditional Tibetan clothing reflects the people's remarkable adaptability to the harsh conditions of the plateau. The chuba, a wide, warm robe, helps keep the people warm during cold, windy days. What stands out is the vibrant color of their clothing, symbolizing optimism and a love for life despite their harsh living environment. Tibetan cuisine is simple but packed with energy. Sampa, roasted barley flour mixed with yak butter tea, is a daily staple that helps the locals withstand the bitter cold. Yak butter tea, a traditional drink made from black tea, butter, and salt, is not only an energy booster, but also a symbol of Tibetan hospitality. Offering guests a warm cup of butter tea is considered a gesture of respect and welcome. The lifestyle of the Tibetan people is closely tied to nature. They primarily live off farming and raising livestock, such as yaks, which are a cultural symbol of Tibet. Small villages with stone and clay houses form a rustic yet lively scene. Although modern life has gradually found its way into Tibet, the people still uphold traditional values such as unwavering loyalty to the Dalai Lama and a firm belief in karma and reincarnation. Traditional festivals are an indispensable part of Tibetan cultural life. Each year, they celebrate hundreds of festivals, both large and small, with vibrant activities such as dancing, singing, parades, and religious ceremonies to commemorate historical events or significant religious dates. These festivals are not only a way to express devotion to the Buddha, but also a time for the community to bond and pass down cultural values to future generations. Tibet is also home to many unique and fascinating customs, some of which may seem strange to outsiders. One of the most famous rituals is sky burial, where the body of the deceased is taken to a mountaintop and offered to vultures. For Tibetans, the body is merely a worldly shell, and once the soul has departed, the flesh holds no meaning. Allowing vultures to consume the body helps the soul ascend quickly and reunite with nature. Additionally, due to the cold climate, the rocky, frozen earth, and the scarcity of wood, cremation or traditional burials are nearly impossible. While this practice may seem unsettling to foreign visitors, for Tibetans, it is a sacred expression of their philosophy of life and their belief in reincarnation. Another distinct Tibetan custom is polyandry, where a woman can marry multiple brothers from the same family. This tradition stems from the desire to keep property and land from being divided among heirs and to maintain family unity. In polyandrous families, the eldest brother is typically the official husband responsible for managing the household, while the younger brothers support the family and care for the shared wife when the eldest is away. Interestingly, the children in these families do not distinguish between biological fathers. All the brothers are equally considered fathers. Although this practice is fading in modern times due to changes in society and legal systems, it still exists as a unique cultural tradition in some remote areas where community life remains closely connected to ancient customs. Tibetans also have a fascinating way of greeting one another by sticking out their tongues. This gesture is a sign of respect and goodwill, rooted in the legend of King Langdharma, who was said to be a cruel ruler with a black tongue as a symbol of evil. To prove they are not descendants of this infamous king or bear any ill intent, Tibetans stick out their tongues as a way of showing purity and sincerity. This act serves as a peaceful greeting, signifying that they approach others with an open and kind spirit. For first-time visitors, this tradition may seem surprising or even strange, but for the locals, it is a charming cultural expression of respect and kindness. One unique marriage tradition that once existed in Tibet allowed women to freely date and get to know different men before choosing a husband. Traditionally, this practice was seen as a way for women to affirm their charm, maturity, and life experience. After each date, they would often receive a small memento from their companion as a symbol of their personal journey. This custom was not viewed negatively, but instead reflected the Tibetan people's open-minded view of love and women's independence in ancient times. However, this tradition has nearly disappeared in modern society due to changing cultural norms and perceptions of women's rights. The blending of traditional values with modern standards has led Tibetans to gradually let go of old practices to integrate with contemporary society. But the memory of such customs remains preserved as a part of their cultural history. Although some Tibetan customs may seem peculiar, they hold profound meanings about harmony between humans and nature, resilience in a harsh environment, and belief in the cycle of life and reincarnation. These cultural elements contribute to Tibet's mystical allure and earn the respect and admiration of people worldwide. Tibet is truly a cultural treasure full of mysteries and charm. If you enjoy strange yet meaningful stories like this one, do not forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you will not miss our next fascinating exploration. Thank you for watching, and see you on our next journey.